Hey everyone, it's little Walt. Big Walt's behind the camera today for Tech Tip Tuesday. He's making funny faces trying to make me laugh. And today we're going to talk about the importance of wiring. I was wiring up my new dash with the new QuickCar gauges. And like I said before, wiring, it doesn't make you go any faster, but it can save a lot of headaches if it's organized and having everything where it needs to be. So as you can see, Dad will bring the camera in here. I like to wire my dash up with a bus bar. So pretty much this takes and you pull power off the master switch in here and pull power, so when the master switch is on, it powers this whole bar. So then you can pull power from here to there. It keeps the wiring a lot nicer and more organized because then you know all your power wires are running from here to here. And you can see is I've pulled some of these and loomed them together. There's actually a hole drilled in there that I'm going to put it up to. So yeah, so things like that. One important thing, wire ends. I like to use the heat shrink wire ends, and we'll show you how those work. I actually have to take and run the last wire here from the master to this, so we'll do that quick and just show you how the wire ends work for some of you that maybe you haven't seen them. We use them a lot. Same thing with wire strippers. I think they're 10 bucks at Home Depot, but they make the job a lot easier. So it's pretty simple, you know, like use the big end, obviously, and make sure you're using the right end. Like this one says 12 gauge to 10 gauge. This is 10 gauge wire. That's one thing I do like to do. And I don't know if it's completely necessary, but run a taller gauge wire from the master to the power switch just to make sure you're getting all the power that you need. Because there actually is power loss in wiring. And I didn't know that until we were playing with the Pavement modified. And we'd run, I think, a 14 gauge wire to the electric fan. Those use an electric fan, so wiring is really crucial on those. And the fan didn't seem like it had a ton of power. So we got looking on YouTube or something and actually ran a 10 gauge wire to it. And it was amazing how much power was to the fan just with the change of gauge. And I think some of it was the power loss. It's no different than when wiring a house or things like that. So just make sure you're using the right gauge wire. We do everything. This is all 14 gauge wire. Some guys use 16, but I just like to make sure there's enough there. So these are pretty simple. You know, you take and crimp it on. Make sure you get your crimpers the right way. Make sure it crimps it nicely. You know, and give it a good squeeze. So now that's on there tight. And most wire ends are like that. Let's see if I can find one here. A lot of wire ends are just a straight crimp, like that one. I don't know what happened to it, but you can see, you know, it's just a quick crimp. So these here, you take a heat gun or a lighter. I like to use the heat gun. And you just heat them up, the ends, and they shrink. So it takes a second or two. You can see it starting to deform and shrink. So that's all. Now it's literally molded to it, you know, so even if this got a little bit loose, you know, it's all shrunk to it and it stays nice. And it makes it really weatherproof. You know, we wash the cars every once in a while or every week. We actually wash them a lot more than you would think. So having stuff that's waterproof, you know, we always cover the MSD box up. I think they're supposed to be waterproof, but we always do that. Cover your distributor up because any sort of moisture in wiring is always bad. So doing things like that are huge, you know, and just running this wire. Make sure you don't short yourself. You know, we'll hook this down on the master. And I always kind of like to get a roll of wire. And then, you know, we're going to curl to here. It'll be hooked there. So somewhere about there. So we'll take and break it there. And then just hook your other one on. And then this will pull power to the gauge panel. So again, same thing. What did I do with that end? There it is. Make sure they're lined up too, because sometimes it can be a pain in the neck. You know, kind of time them the right way. Do the same thing here. Wiring can be repetitive, but I actually enjoy it. It's kind of a mindless, enjoyable thing. So, same thing, we'll heat it up, shrink it. So that's all nice and tight. So now comes the fun part. You know, this is kind of the last wire. And then we can mount this up. So that slides on there. That's going to give it power. And we're going to run it down to there. I lock the washer and nut on. And then making sure this stuff is all tight is really crucial, you know, because anything, especially with ground, same thing, have a really good ground. That can be a lot of your wiring issues. So that's that. That I'm not going to tighten up completely, but it's enough to give it power. And as you'll see, I put the ground on. We should have power to the dash. So I always run a light on my master because I'm famous for getting my master switch on. It'll run the battery dead. And then in here we have the helmet fan works, and then the new gauges light up. So it's these gauges are new. They're pretty cool, you know, with the digital stuff kind of upgrading. Dad's still got the mechanical gauges. I think they both work equally as nice. But I wanted to upgrade to something different. But yeah, so pretty much I guess the importance is, you know, use good wire ends. If you can use the heat shrink ones, I feel like those are the best. And I'm no wiring expert, but just making it clean and simple to work with is great. Same thing with like color coding, things like that. You know, really the final thing we have left to wire this, and with a QuickCar, because we run a regular ignition, we don't run an MSD box, we run the rev box. So the power runs through the rev box. So pretty much this power wire goes to switch power off of this, and then it hooks to the positive side of the distributor. And then I'm not going to run a tack. With the crate motor, felt like we didn't really need to spend the money on a tack because you can literally read the RPMs right here. It'll read the highest RPM. So it saved a little bit of money, because I think with the tack, these gauges was like another $125. So I went for the voltmeter instead. So this will just plug in and it runs through the box, and there'll be nothing wired here. We'll just take and wire tie it up. But yeah, so definitely make sure you're using the right gauge wire. Make sure you have, you know, complete circuits, good grounds, and keep it organized, and it'll save a lot of headaches at the racetrack. And if something does happen, it's easy to trace it and go through, because you think about it with the dirt modified, I mean, you're out here trying to work on wiring, you know, because the body's out here. So trying to have it as neat and simple as possible can be huge. So that's all we got for now. I think we kept it under 10 minutes. That's kind of the goal for these, quick and simple. So yeah, so if you have any more ideas for these Tech Tip Tuesdays, just let us know. We might do some stuff on building bodies, just simple stuff, you know. Sometimes you look at it and some guy might be on YouTube going, hey, I wonder how to do this, you know, and that works out great. So as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Shoot us some comments, and we'll see you next time.